Hey guys, my name is Lukas, and in this video I want to talk about 5 tips for Fender Tone Master amps. I have the Fender Tone Master Deluxe Reverb here. It's the blonde edition, as you can obviously see. I think it looks great. It is a digital representation of the 65 Deluxe Reverb amp by Fender. And there's also the twin reverb and the super reverb. And the idea behind these solid state / modeling amps is to replicate the tube amps as closely as possible, as good as possible, but add some modern features, some great functionalities, like it has a direct out for recording, it has IRs built in, it has a attenuator built in, and it weighs only half. I think this weighs around 11 kilos, so it's pretty light amp. A lot of people are still missing some features which Fender could have included in these amps since they're not tube amps. Some people would like to have a effects loop, which I cannot offer a solution for, unfortunately, or not a real solution. Some people would love headphones out, and yeah, this brings me right in to my number 1 tip. You can use this amp with headphones, and yeah, even it has this mute switch. As you can see, it turns from red to orange or amber here. You can use the XLR out on the back, put the XLR in an audio interface. I have the Focusrite, and in the Focusrite I can directly plug in headphones, and then I can play with headphones. The amp is on mute or standby, whatever you want to call it. Then I can play through the headphones. So that's tip number 1, how to use headphones with this amp even though it's not built-in feature. Number 2 would be using backing tracks. As you can see, the amp has 2 channels. It has a normal channel and it has a vibrato channel. Both have 2 inputs. You could use backing tracks if you plug your guitar in the vibrato channel, for example, and then you plug in this case, this is a Bluetooth receiver. You can just plug anything with a standard jack, obviously not a mini jack, in the channel. And then this one's hooked up to my laptop now. I can play backing tracks through this. I will demonstrate in a second. But you can, of course, also plug in a looper here. So if you have a Ditto looper, for example, you can play a loop on the Ditto and put that one in channel 1. And play your guitar through channel 2. So you can sort of trick it and don't get the signals mixed up, and I think that's a pretty handy feature. So let me just start the backing track now. I hope you could see that. I think it sounds great. It works perfectly, in my opinion. Yeah, this one's backing track, obviously. This backing track was made by my friend Krenar from Krenar Guitar, so shout out to him. And I put a link down in the description if you want to check out his channel. So yeah, I think that's a pretty cool way to use both of the channels separately. And yeah, put a loop in the normal channel or a backing track and play through the vibrato channel. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3 also uses both of the channels. And yeah, with an ABY switch. This one's the Mooer Micro ABY MK2. It's a rather affordable one, but it does the job. And yeah, you plug your guitar cable in the Y. Then I have one cable here that goes into my pedal board. And I have another cable, this one, which goes straight into the vibrato channel. And this one's coming back from my pedal board. This one goes into my normal channel. So the advantage of this is the voicings of these 2 channels is slightly different. It's a very close replication of the 65 Deluxe Reverb, and I think this one has a gain stage more, the vibrato channel, and so they sound differently even when they're on the same volume. And I would like to run my pedals through the normal channel without any interference, so it's pretty simple. I turn it to volume 3 or 4 here, and the vibrato channel is on 6.5-ish. And yeah, now I can use the ABY switcher to switch between the channels, obviously. Having the vibrato channel, which one's on now? That is the vibrato channel, but the effects are turned off. Now engage the reverb. And now with the vibrato, or actually it's tremolo. And now if I want to switch to my pedals and put some dirt in or some modulation effects, for example, I have now engaged a super chorus and a Boss analog delay. Then I can stomp on the ABY switch. It's a little bit, the volume is lower. Then switch back to the vibrato channel and yeah, and that was tip number 3, how you can use the normal channel as a pedal platform and for your pedal board, and then switch between both channels, because the foot switch that is included only works for the vibrato channel. It turns on the reverb and the tremolo, so it's not intended to switch between the channels via a foot switch, separate foot switch. But this way I think it's a great workaround to use both of the channels. My tip number 4 is regarding this amp being a solid state amp, which you can update the firmware on. So tip number 4 is try some different firmwares out, because Fender, there's this blonde version, there's a black version as well, and they have slightly different firmwares. There's the standard firmware for the black face. The black face has a different speaker built in. It's a Jensen speaker, and this one's a Celestion speaker, so there's already a difference. And there are firmware updates to tweak the reverb control, for example, and there's a firmware where the bright cap is still on the amp, on the vibrato channel, and there's a separate firmware update where the bright cap is removed. And I would just suggest to you to try it out. Maybe you have the blonde one, where I think the standard firmware already has the bright cap removed, but maybe you like it. So try it out. Try to download the standard firmware of the black one, and maybe you like it even better. And also the control for the reverb, which I think they improved it for low controls on the reverb knob. But yeah, I would just suggest to you to try it out. The update itself is pretty simple, pretty straightforward. You need a micro USB cable. You can plug it in down here. I will insert a screenshot, a close-up screenshot. Then there's the standard USB cable. You plug it into your computer or Mac. I put the link to the Fender firmware update site also in the description down below. But it's a pretty standard process. I've tried it. I tried updating the software, and I actually did. It's really easy. You connect it, it appears like a hard drive, and you drag the image of the firmware onto it. It takes a couple of seconds to update. You turn it off, you turn it on again, and that's it. My last tip is for those who like to record or play with headphones. In this amp you have You can turn the cabinet sim off. There's cabinet sim 1 and 2. For this blonde version, the IRs were recorded with the Crimbeck speaker that's in it. The first cap sim is recorded with a Shure SM57 and the second one is with a Sennheiser MD421. But unfortunately, you cannot change the IRs yourself. So you can't say, I have my own IR I like better, and put it in this amp. That doesn't work, unfortunately. But yeah, it also relates to the tip number 4. You can upgrade or change this, the firmware of the amp and use the one of the black one. The IRs of that one were recorded with the stock speaker, so the Jensen speaker. I think cap sim number 1 was also recorded with the SM57, which just has a little bit more punch. And the second one for the black Deluxe Reverb was recorded with a Royer 121. And maybe you like those better. So if you're recording a lot and you have the blonde one because you like the way it looks and want to try out different IRs, that's at least a little bit kind of a workaround to get some different IRs other than those that are built in. Or yeah, you can switch the cap sim off and try something with that setting as well, of course. So yeah, those were my 5 tips to get the most of this amp. Number 1 was using it with headphones by including an audio interface. Number 2 was using backing tracks or a looper through, for example, the normal channel here. Number 3 would be use an ABY switcher to go between the channels. Number 4 and 5 are with regards to firmware updates, just to try out what you like, which sound and the way some knobs work and which IRs you prefer over the others, over the one that were, for example, stock on the amp. Just don't be afraid to update the firmware. It's pretty straightforward and I think you can't mess it up. And yeah, my last tip, we could say a bonus tip, is really use the attenuation feature on this amp. It's on the back, and depending on your setting, maybe you don't like headphones, so tip number 1 is not really for you, but you would like to crank the amp. And with the Tube Deluxe Reverb 65, it's hardly possible to really crank the amp, and I think it really starts to shine on the vibrato channel when the volume is above 6, I would say, even more. And when I totally cranked it, I was at 10, and then just how the volume controls on the guitar work, I think that's just brilliant. I really like it. You can retain a nice clean, and if you turn it up, it's really dirty, and that's just a great feature. And to get that at a manageable volume, you can use the attenuation. I would really suggest trying that one out. Now I'm on the vibrato channel, the volume is cranked. Reduce the volume on the guitar. Yeah, I hope you saw what I mean. It works nicely, and I'm on the lowest setting now, by the way. I hope the mic wasn't distorting a lot. That's the 0.2 watts setting, and I usually play on the 0.5 watt setting, and then I can really get a nice volume in the room here downstairs. The higher settings are just getting extremely loud, extremely fast. So yeah, but for rehearsals, absolutely doable. For gigs as well. So really great. Yeah, I hope these tips helped you. If you have any further tips or ideas how you could tweak it or just use it a different way, please leave a comment down below. If you like this video, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and maybe even subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. That's it for today. Thank you very much, guys, and see you in the next video. Bye!